This room gets so hot. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, consider subscribing because I do post new writing related videos every Wednesday. Today's video is all about my writing epiphanies, things I wish I could go back and tell myself to actually listen to. The eclipse is actually going on right now, and of course, in typical Florida fashion, it's raining, so yep, you can't see anything. Number 1, it's not a bad thing when your writing is terrible. If you write a chapter and you come back to it a week later thinking it's garbage, you're recognizing that some elements need improvement, and that's half the battle. That's huge. Oftentimes, writers continue to feel as though their writing is terrible, revision after revision, and usually this means you learned something since you wrote that chapter, so you shouldn't get down on yourself about your writing. Number 2, I'm not a pantser. I shouldn't even have tried to be a pantser, and I recommend every new writer always start with an outline. Things can get complicated if you don't use one, and for me, I could never get past chapter 5 in any work in progress. You have to know the rules in order to break them. So although you might transition into being a pantser one day, I wouldn't bet your first novel on it working out so well. Outlines also make it feel like I'm already 20% there with each chapter, so it's easier to sit down and write that shitty first draft. I hardly ever cuss on this channel. Or any channel, I don't have another YouTube channel. Number 3, there is no magic formula. When I first started out, I looked up every outlining and plotting method under the sun. These systems seemed to be on something, but I ran into trouble when I started to implement them. Having an amazing storyline is always important, but I focused too much on it, and my writing ended up being the weakest part of my stories instead of the plot. The magic formula didn't work. There's 1,000 ways to write a book. Experiment and find what works with your writing brain, and don't focus too much on finding the perfect formula. Those methods aren't all-encompassing and should be treated as supplementary material and not as strict guides. Number 4, editing while writing shouldn't be attempted by amateurs. You'll advance far enough one day that editing while writing is possible. Don't do it the first time around. You'll never get past the first few chapters. For most writers, it doesn't even make sense to edit that early unless you know you're going to keep every single scene. Why spend 5 days perfecting a chapter only to find out later that you don't need it? Number 5, writing changes the way you read. It's hard not to analyze a book while you're reading it. That's both a blessing and a curse, because you'll learn so much from writing or about writing from reading, but you'll find it harder to sink into some of those books just for pure enjoyment. Balancing the two can be difficult. Number 6, writing a book takes forever. I had unrealistic expectations when it came to my deadlines. I had heard of writers taking 2, 3, 5 years to write and publish their first book. I was better than that. I would write and publish my book in 6 months and it would be a raving bestseller. That didn't happen. Don't expect that to happen to you either unless you're already writing full-time with no kids and no other job. Life likes to get in the way of writing, which isn't always a bad thing. Number 7, the fear of failure makes me a better writer. It makes a lot of people better writers. Are you worried what your significant other will think when you show them your work? As long as it doesn't cripple you, and it took me a while to share my own work, the desire to not disappoint makes me try harder, edit more, learn more about the writing craft. So harness those fears and doubts and make them work for you. Number 8, use charts or graphs or anything to track your progress towards a goal. This is literally only something that I started to do about a month ago. I'll put a link down below to a template that I used to track my editing progress. You'll manually have to adjust the daily goal column, but it should be fairly self-explanatory. It ends up looking like the NaNoWriMo graph, which I realized last Camp Nano motivated me a lot. So visuals of your progress help. I seriously wish that I had done this 2 years ago, a long time ago. Number 9, automation. I'm still new to this one, but I'm working on using it more often. While it's not exactly writing related, it's helpful for marketing yourself before you publish your book. I use Hootsuite, but there's a ton of automation programs, websites, apps out there for you guys to use. This means you can bulk preload a lot of your social media content on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you use, which means you won't have to focus on it so much during the work week. It's awesome. Number 10, writing is addictive. Making progress with your writing is so addicting. Every time you reach a new goalpost, it feels so freaking amazing. It feels like writing the first draft takes forever, so it's nice to know how great it feels when you get past those and you meet those goals. Number 11, editing is where the bulk of your learning will come from. Yes, you learn a lot while writing, but you learn even more about editing, especially with the help of others, like beta readers or professional editors. I thought once I started editing, things would be a breeze. Writing the first draft was the hard part, right? I was so wrong and wish I had pushed through to the editing stage on earlier projects. I would know so much more today if I had done that. So don't write a first draft and chuck it if you don't think that you're gonna publish it. Just try to edit it so you can get the most out of your learning experience. Number 12, it's stressful. Like, whoa. Trying to meet those deadlines, although self-imposed, can burn a hole in your stomach. I don't respond to high levels of stress very well. My stressed sign is now, it feels like a balloon is in my chest when I get too stressed out, and it makes it hard to breathe. When I first started writing, I wasn't planning a wedding, I didn't own my own home with a million renovation projects, and I wasn't building this YouTube channel. Things were easy, and I didn't realize how stressful it can be juggling life with writing. Number 13, stay flexible. While it's important to set your goals and try your best to meet them, don't kill yourself in the process. I was so attached to the goal of publishing my book by the end of 2016, and I was crushed when I realized I couldn't meet it. But the stress of scrambling to finish my novel wasn't worth that goal, not to mention my writing was suffering because I was rushing so much. Goals are important, but your well-being is not worth an earlier publication date. Past me. Number 14, it's hard to compare yourself to others. I'm not saying here you shouldn't compare yourself to others. I'm saying that no two writers experience the same success, even on the same path. When I'm bored, I love to find stories of writers that found success, writers that did this and became bestsellers, writers that did that and quadrupled their subscriber rate. Yes, staying up to date on trends is important, but it's nearly impossible to gauge how successful your book will be by comparing yourself to others, which is what I was trying to do. I wish I had spent a little less time daydreaming about matching someone else's success and instead worked toward my own. Number 15, you won't listen. I'm telling you all of these things, and you might really absorb half of everything I've said so far, might only believe a few items. I did the same thing. I'm sure I read all of these epiphanies that I'm talking about right now, and I didn't take them seriously. But I'm hoping you listen to some and benefit from at least a couple. Otherwise, this video was pointless, so I hope it wasn't pointless. And a bonus item worth mentioning, one I heard 100 times before I even started writing my book: your first draft will suck. Like, suck. Do not expect it to be perfect. It's impossible. But whatever's wrong with your first draft, you can always fix. You can't fix a blank page. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this was helpful. I hope so, because I already explained why. This is a great video to hear all of your thoughts on, so tell me what you wished you could go back and tell yourself, or rather, what advice you wished you had actually listened to. That's the video I really should have done. I post new writing related videos every Wednesday, so be sure to subscribe to my channel and click that little notification bell so you don't miss any videos. And if you ever have any questions or suggestions for new videos, just be sure to drop a line down below. Bye guys!